Hi, everyone. Welcome to Real Stories of Hurting Moms. My name is Cathy Taylor, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. As you can see, I have kind of a mystery guest with us, and I'm going to introduce her in just a minute. Um, she's got something really great to talk to you about. But before we get started with her, I want just to kind of go through the housekeeping like I do each week. First of all, if it's your first time watching, if this is the first time that you've caught us live, would you let us know, just right first time in the comments? And also, let me know where you're watching from. I don't know why it's such a big deal to me, but I get pretty excited when I see people watching from all over the US and Canada and even other countries. We've had people from Finland and Ireland and the United Kingdom and India. So go ahead and write where you're watching from. Um, Actually, tonight we're going to be kind of talking about when we taking off our masks. And this is Sharon, and she will be sharing with you in just a minute. Before that, I just want to tell you one more time, in case you haven't seen it, that we're so excited because Hurting Moms Mending Hearts is now officially a nonprofit organization. And we couldn't be more excited. We've kind of gone down this road of, there's a lot of paperwork involved with that kind of thing. So we got it all done, and we heard from the IRS that we are officially a nonprofit. So I just want to share that with you to let you know that you can make a tax-deductible donation if you feel moved to do that. And I did put a link up above the video here tonight if you would like to help us out by making a donation, and that would be great. But anyway, we're very excited about it because we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of things we want to do to be able to minister to moms, and now we can finally start doing that. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Sharon. Sharon is leading her 5th Hurting Moms online group. She's amazing. I'm sure a lot of you out there have had her as a leader, and you can say hello to her in the comments. But anyway, Sharon's has something to talk to you about. She's going to be talking about taking off your masks. So Sharon, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thanks for having me, Cathy. And yes, I'm taking off my mask now. And the subject of taking off the mask is really very important to me. There's a lot of reasons why people wear the masks. We don't want people to see us as ourselves. We want them to see what we want them to see. Everybody does. And we constantly wear it. Sometimes we do it on purpose. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're wearing the mask. But I think we, as hurting moms, tend to wear the mask a little bit more. We think that other people have the perfect Leave It to Beaver family, and they don't. There is no Leave It to Beaver families anymore. You can say that everybody in the country has some type of dysfunctional family. It's just you don't see it because everybody is so busy wearing the mask that they've been carrying around. It's become a part of them, and no one wants to take them off. So to me, there are several reasons why we wear masks, and one of them is fear. Fear is we're worried about what people are going to think about us. We're worried about what people are going to say about us behind our backs. And then we tend to think that everybody else is perfect too. So, I mean, we just want to get the mask off. We want to be transparent. It doesn't really do any good to wear the mask. And as I've told a lot of my classes in both Celebrate Recoveries and Hurting Moms classes, fear not is mentioned 365 times in the Bible. So if it's mentioned that many times, evidently God's trying to get something through to us. He doesn't want us to have that fear. But there's not many places that you can go that you feel really safe. To me, Hurting Moms is a really good place to feel safe. I know CR and AA make a point of saying we're only as sick as our secrets.
Right.
So pulling off that mask is a wonderful thing. By taking the masks off, you may have the idea that you're going to appear weak before people, but to me, in all actuality, taking that mask off gives you so much power, and it gives you a freedom that is incomprehensible. It's just letting go. You can let go of depression. You can let go of fear. You can let go of loneliness and isolation. And even as far as when right when my son had passed, I would end up wearing my mask for a while because I was so worried about, well, what's everybody going to think? Are you over this yet already? Don't you think it's time to move on? It's been long enough. Stop growing in the grief and stuff like that. And in the Hurting Moms group, I honestly don't feel like there's any of that judgment. There is no condemnation. There is great sympathy, not only for myself, but among all the women. By approximately I would say the fourth or fifth class, like I've said before, women really start to bond together and they start to open up to each other. And they realize they found their safe place. They can come to us and tell us stuff that they wouldn't tell anybody else. And we're not going to sit back and judge them or tell them how they should think or how they should feel. And they get so many tools from going through the workbook. And even if I don't say something, I've been blessed with a co-leader as of late, Lisa, and she is wonderful to work with because her and I kind of think along the same wavelengths. And what I don't say, Lisa comes up with. And she has got such compassion and love, and they really relate to this. Everybody relates to being loved and accepted. And that's so it's a wonderful thing. And I know that there's a link at the top of the website here that talks about how to get signed up for a Hurting Moms class. So, ladies, click on that link if you can. That's a great place to be. You'll love it.
And I just want to add here, we added a couple of new groups today. We did. And look at Sharon's mug. So those mugs just got here this week. They're brand new. And
I just got mine today.
Today, it got there so fast. I'm shocked. Because where are you? You're in Ohio, right? You're in Ohio, and the mugs are here. We have somebody that mails them out. I just got them here at my office like on Monday. So it's been really got them really fast. But anyway, they're in our store. We don't have a link up there, but if you go to the website, go to the store, you can see the mugs there. But anyway, you're right about that, about the groups. We just added a couple of new groups. So if you haven't been in one yet, and by the way, Sharon, Lisa is watching. I see her on here saying hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So, that's so true. I think, we come into these groups and so many times we are so burdened. We've stuffed these emotions. We don't talk to anybody about it. We feel shame. We feel like no one's going to understand, and we hold on to it. And there is something so amazing. I always say my favorite saying is talking about it takes the power out of it. And we
Yes.
get into these groups and there's nothing like being able to be real, being able to express the pain that we have and the anxiety and the fear and the disappointment and all the things that we have. There's nothing like that where we can come to these groups and we can talk about that and not have to worry. Because we know everybody else gets it. I don't think anybody really understands the pain and the heartbreak that we have other than another hurting mom.
Right.
And so I think that's what a lot of the value is. That's why, like, hurting people who lead hurting moms groups are hurting moms themselves, because how can you lead a group without understanding what it is that they're feeling?
Right.
So,
People have a way of relating to someone who has been through it,
mhm,
because they know that that person understands. And that's amazing how God uses that. Whenever we have pain in our lives and things that we go through, he's made that promise to us that he will turn it around and use it for good. And that's exactly what he does. And through the groups, we learn how to handle everything in a healthy way,
mhm,
instead of maybe going out and, because we're so upset with our kids, that the first thing we do then is pick up a drink, or use possibly some sort of medication that's really not good for us,
right,
um, to some extent. Or, there's people that have eating disorders and stuff that kick in and stuff like that, because we tend to stuff down all of our pain. And,
right.
and when we get in the Hurting Moms group, we learn how to deal with that pain. We learn how, like I said, the proper tools to handle it in a good, healthy way.
That's right. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit? I know you've been on and shared before, but would you share with us a little bit about your journey, about Evan, about, because I know when you joined Hurting Moms, you joined because you had a son that was hurting. And during the course of this, even while you were leading a group, I think, or getting ready to lead another one, he passed. Do you mind sharing just your own
No, I
story,
don't mind at all.
including the feelings along the way and everything? Because I'm sure there's moms out there that can relate to you.
Sure. My son Evan was 28 years old, and we had been going through, I would say, about 10 years of drug addiction on and off with him, and alcohol addiction. It was very, very hard living with that. I mean, I had been stuck with needles trying to physically fight him over it. And I mean, I'm talking a big 6'3" guy. And it's like, but I have this Irish tendency to where I don't think before I do something sometimes. And I would literally tackle him and try to get the drugs out of his hands, to where he had needles, and I would grab it and I would get stuck with the needles and stuff like that. But anyway, it was a long journey and heartbreaking. And I got to the point, I just didn't know where to turn anymore. And just like God, I was surfing on Facebook the one day, and I found an advertisement, and it talked about hurting moms. And I went, hurting moms, hurting moms. Holy cow, that's me. I'm a hurting mom. I'm going to check it out and find more out about it, and I did check it out, and it sounded good, and I thought, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the books and sign up for a group. What have I got to lose? It can't get any worse than it already is. And so I joined the group, and Barb Simeon was my leader, and I really enjoyed it in that, and I enjoyed the acceptance that everybody had given to me, and that, and I decided at that point, God had blessed me with strength at that point in the journey, and I wanted to help others get through it. And Barb had even said, she goes, if you feel like you want to go through it again, and she says, I think you'd make a good leader. So I went, okay. So I think I called you and I talked to you and I said that I would like to be a leader. And then I went through the training with you. And I think it was about, let's see, Evan passed away, unfortunately, of an overdose, heroin overdose, on November 17th of last year. And I had signed up to start my first class in January, the beginning of January.
I forgot it was going to be your first group to lead.
Yeah. And, but I went ahead and you asked me, you said, I don't know, do you think you can do this or not?
And you wanted to do it. You were like, I still want to lead the group.
Yeah, because in Evan's memory, I want to still continue to help people because, like I said before, Evan hated being an addict. He hated it with every fiber of his being. He didn't like it. He fought against it. He told me to keep fighting and getting in there and joining groups. He knew I worked with Hope Over Heroin and all those other things. So I'm just determined, as long as I have breath, I'm just going to keep fighting.
Yeah.
And this is one way I know how to do it.
Well, you have so much hope to offer moms because, first of all, you're living every hurting mom's nightmare. Those of us that haven't lost a child, that's our deepest fear. I think you mentioned earlier about fear. I can remember thinking, I was anxious all the time, just this anxiety and terrified. And I remember finally like having this talk with myself, like, what is it that you're so afraid of? Why are you so afraid? What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Right. It's a worst case scenario.
Exactly. And of course that was my answer. I said, well, I'm afraid my daughter's going to die. I'm afraid I'm going to lose her. And so then I had to go the next step. And I was a believer by that time. And God was doing a lot of things in my life. And I said, and so, which I knew it was a possibility I could lose her. So if that happens, am I going to be okay? Will I be able to carry on? And I felt God say, yes, I'm going to hold you up. I would be there for you. So, but I say that with, and I'm blessed. I haven't lost a child. Mm-hmm. At this point anyway, but I know there's a lot of moms watching that's the same fear. And in some ways, hearing somebody say, yeah, this happened to me, that can even be frightening. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear, but the more we face things and the more we learn to trust God with not only our children, but with our own emotions, if our joy and our peace, if it comes truly from Christ, then it no matter what else is going on in our life, of course it puts a damper on things, a huge damper, but of course we go through the grief and all that, but at the end of the day, in the long term, the big picture, we still can have joy, even though there might be some sadness. Would you agree with that as someone?
Yes, definitely. You figure you might as well try, you have to go on. You don't really have any control over it. I had no control over Evan, and believe me, I tried. And if control would have done it, he'd still be here. But there is no controlling it. Right. And the only one that can control anything in this life is God himself. And I mean, God didn't even have any control over his own kids. When you look at Adam and Eve, did they listen to him?
Yeah.
Ultimately, no. So, I mean, our kids are going to um, get to a point where they unfortunately have that free will thing going.
Yeah.
And God let us have free will, and he let us mess up. So we kind of owe it to our kids to let them to a certain extent, whether we like it or not. They have to eventually make their own decisions, whether we like them or not. So we have to learn to, at some point, um, and most of the time it's after they become adult children.
Yes.
You can't do that with a 15 or 16-year-old. That's not feasible. But with an adult child, there does come a point where you have to let go and let God. And you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself constantly, because if you're not, when it comes to a point where they really come, Mom, I need you, help me. If you haven't taken care of yourself, you're not going to be able to be there to do that. You're going to be sick, you're going to be tired, you're going to have mental problems, everything else. So you need to take care of yourself.
Yes. That's a really good point, and we talk about that. And actually, that's one of the things that we do in the group. One of the weeks we have a week where the homework is to do something for yourself. Do something for yourself, and then we come back the next week and we share it with each other. And I don't know about you, but I love I love hearing the things that the moms do. I mean, a lot of them do things that I hadn't even thought about, but it sounds really great. You know, just doing something for yourself, from getting a pedicure to doing some gardening or binging on Netflix, whatever it is, taking a nap. But it's so important that we do. Like I so agree with you that we have to take care of ourselves, and we forget about that in the midst of this. We get so focused on that child. I was so focused on my daughter, I didn't take care of myself, and you know what? I didn't take care of my other kids either. I was so focused on the one that everybody kind of went by the side of the road. By the way, speaking of other kids, your daughter's on here. She said hello.
Hi. Yeah, she told me she was going to be watching. As moms, it's like we are trained to always put ourselves last.
Yeah.
You know, and we get really, really good at it. You know, we've had quite a few years to practice it. And so, you know, the last things on our mind is taking care of ourselves. We just don't think about it. And then when we do, it's very hard to get out of that guilt mode for doing it. And you have to learn that unless you pour back into that pitcher that, or in your cup, like the one I've got here, the Hurting Mom's Cup.
The Hurting Mom's Cup.
Unless you take and you pour back in after you've poured out, you're going to come to a point where your cup is empty.
Yeah.
Then what are you going to do? You have to keep refilling your cup. If you don't, you're in big trouble. Well, so Hurting Moms is just the place to do it.
That's one way, actually is one way of like you say, filling the cup, because you know, I just got done leading a group, and gosh, I just love those ladies. Last night was our last night, and it was so inspiring to me to be able to hear them and to understand that, I don't know, just to watch the process, like you said about the fourth or fifth week, just watching the process of, and I think part of it is we start getting to know each other and trusting each other. And pretty soon we start lightening up. We just start being able to actually really enjoy being together. I see my son on here, Brian. Hi, Brian. Love you too. So, there's nothing like it. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel like, you know, we're always talking about the groups, but I think it's because, I don't know about you, Sharon, but I have this sense of urgency. Like, I know what happens in these groups, and I have seen hundreds of moms find healing and getting to a better place. The kids aren't changing. They're still in the same place. We can't
Right.
them, but the moms start changing and start experiencing hope and healing, and they can laugh again. And I mean, I just feel this urgency, like I just want moms to know about that. If you're hurting over your child, I just want you to be able to experience the freedom that I've learned to experience through this. And
Right. And I mean, don't feel bad if you need to go through the group a second time.
yeah,
Some people, some of our ladies have um, suffered to that point, or have just been so beaten
yeah,
by the circumstances that they're going through that they need one more time, maybe even two more times to get through it. And that's the beauty of it. You can go through it again, and you can either go through with the same instructor, or you can go through with a different one. Different instructors lend different flavors and tools to your little tool belt. And that, so I'm kind of an advocate for, everybody using different leaders and stuff. So, but don't feel bad if you just can't quite grasp it the first time. Different people have different learning curves and stuff going on in their lives that, take it 3-4 times, however long it takes it to take root.
that's why we keep feeding them, right? That's why we keep feeding them. It's true. And I wanted to say here, they only last for 10 weeks. So ladies, it's not like you're signing your life away, or it's not like going to be forever. They're 10-week groups. And so that's a little bit doable. I feel like doesn't feel like such a gigantic commitment that you can get into a 10-week group. But I agree with you. Lots of moms go through it more than once, and a lot of them become leaders. And it's facilitating. I mean, once you've been through it, you can take other people through it. But it's really special. It's special. I think the best thing of all is just the relationships that you build. I always say, and I can't say it enough, God did not create us to isolate or be alone. We are built to be in community, and
Right.
healing happens in community, and growth happens in community, and we all need love, and we all need understanding, and that all happens in community too. It doesn't happen when we isolate. And so I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I get really excited about the groups, and I love hearing the stories that come out of them. And I love that you're leading your 5th group.
It's an online group. I mean, and we have both ways of doing it: the face-to-face groups in the churches or wherever, and then we have the online groups. I love the online group. I mean, eventually I would love to do a face-to-face group, but I don't know. I think I'm hooked on the online groups because I got friends all over the country now. I've got friends in Canada. I've got friends in Florida, California. They're all over, and it's fun.
Your daughter just says, it's Joshua Desiree Cohen, right?
Yeah.
She says, this has been amazing for my mom, and I couldn't recommend this higher. I tell every hurting mom I run into to run to this group and get the support they need. It's so necessary. So she's, I guess, watching her own mom go through. And you know what? It's hard on the siblings. When we have one child that's in this situation and we're so focused, and our hearts are breaking, our other children feel so helpless, and they see our heartache. And so I know, Desiree, it must be like a relief to you to see your mom finding that healing and being able to be in a better place through this process. So,
well, Desiree makes a good support system for me too, though. I got one terrific daughter and a terrific son-in-law that support everything, that we do and stuff. And I'm so blessed that, I have my daughter.
Yeah. And some grandbabies.
Oh, yes, my 2 babies.
So, yeah, gosh, our time's already up, but I'm so grateful that you were on here with me, and we'll do this again. I mean, I love the mask. I love the whole, that you had a prop. That was pretty special. And the importance of taking out the mask, and how that is something, probably the most important thing that happens in a Hurting Moms group, is that you're able to do that and be real. And Sharon, I'm just grateful for you and your leadership. And I know a lot of moms, since this is your fifth group, a lot of moms watching now, and maybe they'll be watching tomorrow or during the week upcoming, watching the replay of this, are going to be moms who have been through your
Yeah.
so that you've been instrumental in some of their healing. So, ladies, we're so grateful. Again, just number one, there'll be a link above the video when we get off for you to sign up for a group. Just do it. Go sign up for a group. If you like Sharon's mug, there's some mugs in this at our website, Hurting Moms.
Cathy's book there is in there too. So
what is
your book?
My book. Yeah. So I have an autobiography with my whole story. And it's not very long. So that's something else. You can go check out the store. There's a bunch of stuff in there. But more important than that is to get into a group. We can't stress it enough. And so thank you all for watching. Thanks for being part of this community. It means the world to me. I am so encouraged and so uplifted all the time by your words of encouragement, by your prayers. Be praying for Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts. I mean, as we're growing, and now that we're a nonprofit and we're our own business, basically a nonprofit organization, we can use a lot of prayers, because we're learning how to do this. Let me tell you, I was telling Sharon before we went on, this business part of it's hard. I don't know how to do this. But you know what? God's it. I keep going back to the fact this is God's thing. He's the one that created this. And so we'll just let him do his thing. So Sharon, thanks again for being here. And I'll see you soon. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care.